Okay, Sam, thanks so much for being with us today. I'm looking forward to this. We have done a podcast with you, so we heard you talk about this. And what I love about these videos is now today we get to actually see it. So demo heavy. So that being said, for those who might have missed the podcast or don't know a lot about you guys, real quick, can you tell us a bit about NRG Global? What are you guys trying to do over there?
Well, thank you, Doug, for hosting this demo. NRG Global is a software testing company. We offer testing solutions for all your testing needs. We have a solution for performance testing, regression testing, and application monitoring. I'm gonna have a couple slides just to explain what we do and how we do this and why we do it a certain way, and we'll go to a live demo to show you exactly how it works. Our vision is to test applications exactly the way the end user uses them. Remove the protocol dependencies and look at visual clues on the screen and act on them. No matter if they move, if the image moved to a different side of the screen, if the image changed slightly, or if they are pop-up windows that hide the image, our software should handle all those unexpected events and work like a person would. Also, it should record information that the user sees. So in case of failures, by default, in case of failures, we capture screenshots of the failures and we track them so that you can take the screenshots to your software vendor or developers to help fix. So in summary, all our solutions are protocol independent, application independent, no code necessary, and you will see that in the live demo, and we give you actionable results. So our solutions, and this is just a summary before we go to the demo, it can work on site as software as a service or on premise. We have AppLoader for load and performance testing, AppVerify for regression and security testing, and AppsWatch for application monitoring. All these solutions use the same technology, the same scripts. You can run them through the life cycle of your products. So let's go to a live demo. So in a live demo, what I wanted to show you is how easy it is with our tools to first create a script. And in few steps, we're going to create a script that logs on to a Citrix application and launch Citrix, log on to Citrix, launch an application, and create transactions, and then run a load test with that script. So let's call this script demo uploader, let's say. Now it offers us 4 types of scripts of first actions. Are we going to open a web application or start an application from the command line, or double click on an icon, or do a manual scripting? We have videos that shows you each one how it works. But actually, at the end of the day, this just creates the first action. As I was saying earlier, it's all protocol independent. So we'll just choose to click on an icon, which actually we already have here. By default, it remembers the size of the last image that we took. We don't need to change it. We just take this image here. It's going to automatically right now double click on it and open the web page for Citrix. Now, to make sure that the page has opened, we're just going to take an image of the username, this field. It doesn't really matter which field. I could have taken a log on button. It would still move a mouse and click relatively to where the image showed up. So now it's recording everything that I'm doing, which is actually, no, this is wrong. It would be NRG Citrix. This is our demo environment. Backslash, let's call it NRG Global. See, of course, you can use this as variables. I'm just gonna, there's a way to do it even with the recorder. And you can encrypt passwords or use them, from CSV file. So now you would see if I can I'm going to click on this small application here, this icon. And the same way as you would explain this to a person, telling them this is how you need to use the application, or this is how you're going to test it. This is exactly what we're doing here. This is what we're doing with the product. It doesn't matter if it's a Java application or if it's a FAT client, the virtual desktop, it doesn't really matter. So here, when the application opens, I'm just going to click on this button here. And afterwards, once we log on to the application, I will show you what the script that was created, which is a list of actions that everybody can understand and that we can go and modify if we need to modify them. I guess we can add maybe search for patient here, just click on this one, and after that we'll be done. Now let me close here, and let's see what we have recorded so far. So let me see, I'll exit here, log off, we'll play it back. So if you look at this script, it's very simple. I don't know if it's big enough on the screen. Let me make it big here so you can see better. See, we double-clicked on this icon, then we waited for this image. By default, it puts how long it's going to wait for the image. There are a few properties that are there by default, which are how long we waited for it doing the recording for this image. We can increase that if we know that our application can get slower when we get to 5,000 users, whatever number of users we're going to simulate. We can also decide to continue on failure, which means if this image did not show up, maybe do something else and look at the tolerance if it's changed a little bit, or simply just decide to look for this image in black and white. So as you can see, there are a lot of possibilities to cover any changes in the image or anything that might happen. And also, we can look at multiple images at the same time. So if I click on this button, I can just go and take another image, and there's no limit to how many images I can take, and which it will look for them all at the same time, and whichever one it finds, it will act on that image. Also, very quickly, you can define, by default, it would look for the image all over the desktop if it doesn't find it. You can also decide to limit it to a certain search area, and you can tell it to make sure also, if you check this, it would wait for an image to disappear. That's the situation where we don't want to see that image on the screen, and it can be very useful on multiple occasions. Like I said, it's very simple, as you can, everybody can understand this find image, move mouse click, and so on. But it can also do some very advanced actions like if conditions, loop actions, switch, and we can handle variables. We can use variables in images. You can add rendezvous points, and also manage failures, which is a pretty interesting concept that will, the failure section will only be executed if the software failed to do in a step, which can allow us actually to look for a pop-up window and go back and fix it. We can even call application DLL, or read to serial port from a serial port, or write to a serial port as well. We have web service client that we can emulate too. Now, after we do this, we can at any point here, if something changed, we can go and change those images. During the recording, I forgot to add a transaction, which we can do. That's not a problem. We can just add it now and just say begin transaction. Let's say Citrix login, and I decide that I want to add a transaction after I log in, for instance, or let's say I want it to be after I see the icon of the other application, let's say. This is actually depending on the user, what the user wants to do. Now, let's play it back, and while we're playing it back, let's move this icon somewhere else. It doesn't really matter. Actually, yeah, it can be there, it can be here. If it doesn't want to move, so just leave it there then. Okay. I think I told it to organize my icons. That's why. But that's okay. It's not in the same location. Let's see what's going to happen here. See, it did find the icon even though I moved it. Now it's going to go through what we did before to enter username, password, and we can see at the bottom right what it's doing, what step it's on, and what images it's looking for, and of course is going to wait for Citrix to load. Now, like I was saying earlier, it doesn't know what protocol is behind the scene. It really just looks at the front end and interacts with the application the same way the end user does. So it's going through the steps that we recorded. Now, when it finishes, we're going to get of course, the transaction time and the script time. I should also say that we recommend you can divide the script into like this is the response time, and it says everything is successful. We can set a reference time so that we can do analysis based on that reference time. Like I was saying, we recommend that a script can call other scripts so that you can divide the complexity of your scripts, especially if, let's say, when you log on to Citrix, the icon has changed. Citrix changed the icon or the fields here. So if you create one script to log on to Citrix and it changed, you just come here and change it instead of changing every script of your project. We also offer the ability to use components, which are just portion of the scripts that could be, for instance, find a patient component would run find a patient, then subscribe medication, and then discharge patient. So it can be it can divide the business process in multiple processes. After this is done, we send this script. And by the way, you record the script the same way for performance testing, regression testing, or application monitoring. When it's done, you send it to the controller, and that's what we're going to do now. And you see this scenario builder is connected to this controller, and this is my active project here. And once it goes to the controller, we can go here, which is a web-based application. So you can have different usernames and user groups that have different access rights to the application. And once you go there, this is the last test that I run. In the dashboard, it always shows you the last test that you have, and it tells you, okay, these are the scripts that we run for that test. This is the day it was run today, the total number of users, number of iterations, and number of successes. Then it shows us the failures, the most recent failures. This is the most recent ones, and if you click, you can see I had issues with this small application. Just this is what, when they click on login, when we got to 100 users, we started getting this type of issues with the application. Now, let me show you how it works. Obviously, we use terminal server technology to simulate users. And you can see here, we have 4 small servers that each one simulates about 25 users. And everything is managed from the controller. So the controller here has a list of injectors, and it shows us the ones that are active. These ones where have 25 users on each one of them. They're all Windows 2012. They can be R2, data center, standard, whatever flavor of Windows you like. It works on Windows 2008 as well. Now, everything is managed from here. You can log in the users from here. You can create users. You can send system commands. There's a lot of things that can be done. So when you're running 1,000 user tests, you might need, if you have 8-core CPUs and maybe 16 gigs of RAM, you might need to use 10 injectors. In that case, you can manage them all from here. Then once you have them all connected, you can add backend monitors where we can monitor any type of systems like AS400, Citrix, HP, UX, Linux, and Windows. For Windows, we use WMI or system agents that collect metrics from perfmon. Then you create a test plan. So for a test plan, for instance, I have one that we're going to run today, which is like the application that I did, Citrix with the patient manager. If we look at it here, it's like any typical test plan. You give it a name, you use a template for backend monitors, you give it steady state time. And if you need to run any script to initialize the environment, you can call scripts from here. And the same way, after the test is done, you can run other scripts. But those are outside the test that just initialize the environment and put it back the way it was. Then for detailed tests, you can have, well, you can add a ramp up sequence to decide how you want your test to be, like 50 users, and then wait 20 minutes, and then start another 100, and so on and so forth. And here in the details for each injector, you give it a number of users, the script, and then number of users are going to run that script, and the delay policy, if you want to have every one user every 5 seconds, or every 10 seconds, or 5 users, whatever it is. And if you have any CSV files, it will show you the files. It will find them automatically and show you the parameters that you have in there. You can decide on the access rules, fixed row per user, sequential, or random, and whatnot. I didn't create any rendezvous points. If I did, I would see them here. And lastly, you can define your SLA for the backend monitors. And that's it. You're all set to go. Once you're done, you save your test here. And then it tells you, do you want to see the execution plan? This is my execution plan for each user, each injector, and each parameter file. It tells you these are the scripts, and these are the parameter files. You can see here, and I just have fixed row per user. So for instance, for patients, in here I'm looking at, we're going to use the patient name Laura. And for the CSV file, for the logon to Citrix, we will use, where is it here? The username, password, NRG Citrix, our user 001, and so on. So you can see everything, how it's going to work, and how many iterations per user per script. And if there's a launch delay here, this is the first one that's going to start, and then 5 seconds later, it's going to be the user one on a different injector, and so on and so forth. Once it's done, I just click on, do you want to run a load test? Yes. It asks me if I want to have any nodes, let's say before upgrade to 7.8, let's say, this to have a baseline, for instance. Once I click on OK, it starts initializing the script, the test. It will automatically take me to real-time monitoring of the test, and I can see the users move into, for instance, here, we will see that. OK. See, each injector here, this has 25 users in wait status, and the same way for this injector as well. And actually, we can monitor everything from here, or look at them on the injectors themselves. You can see here that the test already started. At any given time, I can maximize any window here and see the test running on that environment, and see all the other users, what they're doing, and so on. This happened to be an injector on the controller on the same machine. I can go to other injectors that we have here the same way. And if I click here, see they're starting too. So this is another injector. They're starting another test, and so on and so forth. Now, after it's done, we can go and look here. They are starting here as well. So I can minimize them. I don't have to keep looking at all of them all the time. I can go back to my test here, and we should start seeing results as they start coming in. Let's see here. Yeah, we're starting to see some results here. But let's go and see one of the tests and see what kind of results we have for previous tests that I ran before. Let's look here. When the test is running, I cannot see the results yet, but I can see the dashboard as they're coming in, because we wait for it to summarize to see other results. So here we have, out of the 100, we have 21 of them that are running. There's no failures yet. I'm starting to see the graph here and telling me that the R users that I have in the number of R users is going up. I think now, like we said, it's 31, and it's starting to going up. But actually, let's stop it so we can see the other graphs, so I can show you the previous results and show you what's going on. So if I do end load test, you can end it at any time. Of course, we have some of our clients that integrate AppLoader with Jenkins, so you can call the starting of the test and ending of the test if you don't want to wait for it to finish from Jenkins. Start the users doing everything from there, because we have URLs that you can call and manage the tests and create the test environment and so on. So now that I stopped that test, let me see here. It should be, once it's done, I should be able to see the result. They're still playing, waiting for them to wind down. So they all finished now. I see again my 100 users that are available. So let me go see the report for previous tests that we wanted to see. Here it is. So these are previous tests from before, including the ones that I just ran now. So if we look, for instance, at any of these tests, this one, August 29, yeah, actually this one before upgrade 7.8. So that's another one that I ran before. I can delete it. I can add notes to the test, or just look at the test run, or look at the reports. Open the summary test, the test run summary. Here it gives me some information about when the test was run, the ramp up time, how the elapsed time for the users, how many users in the system, and the number of failures. Overall, it was 115 failures. We saw that we can see the details for each user and each failure and so on. We can see here, this is a summary. It tells us, for instance, that this failure, this one happened twice. And we can see here that we had the engine, HDX engine, Citrix engine stopped working, and this is the crash that we have. We can look actually at log files. We have log monitors that can show us what was in Citrix log files and see what was going on there. This has happened only twice, so it's not really that concerning. Here it tells us they cannot start the application, and it might have been at the same time as the other error as well. So these are the things that I was talking about earlier. You can take these to the software or the system administrator and tell them, okay, look at what's going on. Here we had a database connection error. So even though we're not monitoring from the back end, we're doing everything from the front end, we collect all the data of what the users would have seen if we got to 100 users with the small environment that we have here. These are the type of issues that we would expect. And we can see here that a few occasions we had the CPU value went up to 100% on a Citrix server, which is not surprising because we have a small machine here, like I was saying, for demos, and it helps us, I mean, push the machine a lot to see what happens with the results here. Now, we have summary tests that reports that for each script, each subscript, each transaction that I would have, it gives us the minimum value for response time, the average response time, the maximum value and standard deviation, and if 90th percentile as well, and the number of failures and successes. And we can export that, of course, to CSV file and a PDF. One of the interesting one that where are the results here is exporting the raw data. So I don't know if I have Excel in here or not. Windows, no, it creates actually an Excel, it's a CSV file that you can put in Excel, and it has a detailed values for every single record, every user, every transaction, when it started, when it ended. Yeah, this is not very pretty because it's not an Excel spreadsheet, but it gives you a good idea on what kind of data we get, even with the reference time and the delay on the reference time, and if there's any failures, you can see that in there and put it in different software like Splunk to load, to actually create dashboards and so on, and correlate that with other metrics. We do have our own dashboards. You can create widgets for your test. You can have, it's either You can create widgets for multiple tests or the ones for specific tests, and save them in dashboards. You can correlate response time with any of the metrics are here, with the, let's say, number of users and failures, and CPU on any of the machines, for instance, and then put them all in the same graph. So there's a number of things that you can do with the analysis, and you can also create an execution flow where you call multiple test runs and put them together into a flow if need be. This is about it.
Okay, Sam, that's great. That's great. I do have one big question for you. I love the demo, absolutely awesome. But people will say, well, what does it take to get there? So I have to ask, you showed us using the product. What does it take to get the product installed to the point where we can use it? Make sense?
Yeah, you can get the trial version from our product, which is a full version from our website. You just go to nrgglobal.com and download, and you're gonna get three modules: the uploader controller, uploader injector, and the scenario builder. Scenario builder is the module that allows you to create scripts. Then the uploader controller manages all the scripts and the test plans and the injectors, and you can have one or multiple injectors depending on how much load you want to generate on your system. And you can actually install them all on the same machine. If you install them on Windows server, you can simulate multiple users. With the trial, we limit it to 5 users, and you have full functionality. And if you don't have access to Windows Server, you can simulate one user on a PC and see the functionality and how it works. It's pretty simple. It takes about literally less than 5 minutes to install and create your first script. Like I showed you earlier, there's nothing to it because the scripting is like reading a test case, and instead of executing the test manually, you can put it in AppLoader. There's no programming language requirements or anything.
That's great. That's great. Well, that's wonderful. Anything else you would like to show us with this solution? And I know you have 2 others, so we'll have you back and have you demo those things too. But anything else with with this product, with AppLoader?
Well, no, it's just we are right now offering free proof of concept, because as we put our money where our mouth is, because we know that it's easy, we can help you install it in your environment. We can help you create your first scripts and see the first test runs, and then you can decide if this is the right solution for you or not. And we do that with web meetings, and we do that all over the world. It's not a problem for us. And like I said, usually it takes about an hour from start to finish to run your first load tests and see our uploader running in your environment with your application, whatever it is, a web application, Citrix, FAT client, whatever, or Java, it doesn't matter. They all work the same way, and they all license the same way. One license fits all. And we're trying, our motto is we are changing the testing industry outside in. So we are looking at what's happening outside, what the user is doing, and then looking from there. That's the starting point, and then looking at the back end, what's happening while the test is running, while the users are accessing the application. We can look at backend monitors and tell you what's going on in the backend, but the focus is on the front end. Everything is focused on the end user and how they interact with the application.
That's great, Sam. And if somebody wants to learn more or get that, the free proof of concept, what do they need to do?
Go to our website, nrgglobal.com. There are a lot of, in every single page, every product, you can see request demo or request a proof of concept. Just fill out a form that asks 2 or 3 questions about the email and how to get in touch with you. And then somebody from NRG Global will contact you, or our partners will contact you and set up the free proof of concept at your schedule it with you at your convenience.
That's perfect. And on that note, we like to keep these things short and sweet, so just call it a video. And thank you so much, Sam, for taking the time to do this with us.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Okay.
Have a good one.
Yeah.
And thank you for watching.
Yes, exactly, and that's what I was going to say. And thanks everyone for watching. We're going to do more of these with NRG Global. They have some really great solutions, so definitely stay tuned. And if you haven't listened to the podcast, head over to dabcc.com and go to dabcc.com/dabcc dash radio, or just go to DABCC and search for NRG Global there. Go to the DABCC radio page and you'll find it in that list. We'll also throw it within the show notes of this video. So if you're watching this on the site, just scroll down and you'll be able to find that podcast. And Sam really does a great job diving, peeling the layers off the onion about what they're doing here and explaining in some pretty great detail. So on that note, again, I want to thank you, Sam, and we'll call it a show. Sound good?
Thank you. Have a good day. Bye-bye.